Mining.com and the Northern Miner readers have something new and powerful to dig into. A striking new graphic breaks down global copper production by geopolitical influence, revealing how control over this critical metal aligns with global power blocks. I caught up with Anthony Vaccaro, the president of the Northern Miner Group, and asked him to explain the reasoning behind this timely initiative.
It's no secret, Devin, that we live in troubling times, and I think a lot of the anxiety that we feel is connected all the way up to geopolitics and the ever-shifting, increasingly worrisome geopolitical landscape. We thought it was important to tackle this theme of geopolitical spheres of influence, which are quickly becoming spheres of control. I think this is going to be the most important investment theme and one of the most important themes for the mining and mineral sector over the next 5, 10, perhaps many decades. We feel that, and most people are feeling, that the large superpowers right now are looking at ways to carve up the world within these spheres of influence or control. The Americans, the Russians, and the Chinese, the three most powerful militaries in the world, and two of the three largest economies. What are the implications for our sector? What are the implications for broader society? What are the implications for the metals and mining sector? That's what we wanted to tackle. That's what we wanted to give our viewers some information around so they can help make sense of it all. It's called Dr. Copper for a reason. It's the metal that is most connected to the health of the global economy. So when you're starting to talk about geopolitical spheres and who's going to control what metals or who has the largest positions on metals, makes sense to start with the metal that is most tied in to the global economy. Of course, it plays critical roles in EVs, in electricity and electrification of society. It's just the most tied in to the economy, and we know from our stories it's one of the metals outside of gold that our viewers are most interested in. Seemed like a logical place to start, and we also started with extraction, because as we will move down the chain, start at the beginning. The beginning is, where is the copper being pulled out of in the world, and what spheres does that sit within? Listen, while the data is there and the data around copper numbers is solid, and it is what it is, where the conjecture comes in is around which countries fall into that sphere. And there'll be some healthy debate. We're already seeing that online from posting the story about which countries go into what spheres. But that's the critical part, and that's also the critical takeaway. Because when you look at a map like this, looking at geopolitical spheres through the lens of copper extraction, something that jumps out is the African region. You see the Congo and Zambia with the famous copper belt there really standing out. We've put that in the color of red, which is the Chinese sphere. And you start to see, when you see how much copper extraction lies within the American sphere, which is almost double that of the Chinese sphere, you start to realize why China has made such a concerted effort in Africa with road and belt infrastructure spending, all the investment they've done there. It's to try to narrow this gap a little bit. They realize they don't have enough copper extraction. So when you see it laid out plainly, visually, you start to understand viscerally a lot of the chess moves that are happening on a geopolitical scale. And it can help people forecast a little bit more going forward as to what the next moves might be. It gets particularly interesting once we move into refinery. So while this infographic is solely dealing with copper extraction, the next in the series is going to be around copper refinery. And there you're going to see the story flips. And where the power of refinery currently sits is different from where the extraction currently sits. We like this idea of looking at extraction and refinery in separate charts, but we're just starting with copper. There's many other metals that are going to factor in very strongly into the discussion, whether it be lithium, nickel, antimony, molybdenum. There's a lot of minerals that are very, very important in terms of creating the strength that these spheres are going to want to see. And spheres of resistance is another very important part. We didn't just keep it as simple as three main spheres. We recognize that there's a lot of countries that don't want to go along with any one of those three spheres and have the economic and the population heft to push back. So that's factored in as well, and that's going to be a critical piece to chart and to see how that unfolds within this context.